be bigger for all the trouble you cause. Sweet like cotton candy, melt easy and you soft.
Hey, what's up, y'all? We are here on the Millz Spill. We are here with Selah The Betta. We're going to have a great time today. She is a singer, so we are excited to talk about her journey, talk about what she's working on. Let's get into it.
Excited to be here.
So, you're a New York native. How did that shape your journey as far as you becoming a singer and your art, how you perform and express yourself?
I feel like New York has everything to do with it. You know, born and raised New York of Jamaican descent. So I grew up in Little Jamaica out here in the Bronx. And I feel like everything about New York has really like paved me. I think there's a very special life you live when you grow up here. Like as a kid, you're exposed to a lot of things if you move around the city a certain type of way. And music runs in the blood of my family. So like and creativity in general. And when I was younger, I was very into performing, very into like, dance, step, acting, theater, things like that. And I always wanted to sing, always wanted to write. I have this book that I wrote when I was probably in the third grade or fourth grade. And the book is about my dream to be a singer. Like they had this little project for us where we could write our own book and they would kind of like publish it for us. We get a hard copy back. We wrote out our story, we drew the photos. And ever since then, I knew that I wanted to be involved in music. And like my aunt, she's a singer back in Jamaica. I don't know if you know Gregory Isaacs, but that's my uncle. If you know
Wow.
Night Nurse, yeah, that's my uncle. So
Okay, wow.
that's my dad's brother. And yeah, I would just say like New York has to do with everything about me. I feel like since I was 13, I've been down in the city on the trains. That's an experience in itself. And just like being surrounded by so many different types of people, being able to interact with different types of people, understand different types of people. And I feel like that kind of resonates in my music. I want to give that little New York edge, but I'm a different type of New York girl. I'm not necessarily the aggressive girl that y'all hear about, but I do like to, show the little nuances, that slight aggression, but still keep it because typically that's how we are. A lot of people think we just outside like, nah, what's good, what's up. That's not really the case. We cut it on when necessary, and we cut it off when we don't need it. So
Okay.
that's what I would say about New York. Like New York gave me my confidence. I feel like I could walk in any room and interact with anybody because of New York. So yeah.
New York is an interesting place. It seems like, everyone from New York is just like a strong sense of identity that you have coming from there.
But you have to have one. You will get eaten up out here without a strong sense of identity. And it happens from you young. You're always, I don't want to say on defense out here, but you're always overly aware of your surroundings, where you are, and how you present yourself. And one thing about New York is if you are presenting yourself as meek, you can be meek, you can be calm, you cannot be a fighter. I'm all of those things. However, if you present yourself as such to the world, be careful. People, they smell it on you out here. They know when you're not from here. They know when, they could push the buttons just a little bit further and people are going to try.
Yeah. 50
Yeah.
Cent said it. I think he said it best. He said, the kid who says he doesn't want to fight always ends up with a black eye.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or, but see, the thing is, that's another thing with coming from here. You eventually get to a place where you're not shocked by people anymore because the quiet guy will shock you one day and you'll be like, oh, okay, he's gonna whoop your ass. Leave him alone. you know? So, but that is typically true. Like when you back down from certain things here, people will take the liberty and punk you.
So that strength definitely shaped your confidence to go into music, and then of course having your family, having legends in your family who sing music, that actually helped to form you, to shape you as well when it comes to music.
Yes,
I'll
I
say.
feel like, my parents in particular, they're not heavily into the creative scene, but my close relationship with my aunt definitely introduced me to music. My aunt and my uncle Ronald, my aunt, she still puts out her music out in Jamaica. My uncle, he's very into writing and composition and things like that. My cousin, their son, was an engineer. So I would be younger, say I'm sick of being at home with my parents. I'm like, I'm hopping on the train and going to New Jersey. And I'll go and spend time with them at their house. And that's all I'm doing. I'm downstairs in the studio messing around with the dolls and, you know. But I will say that I I didn't get all of my confidence with music just from those experiences. When I left middle school, I moved into high school, and here we have like vocational schools that we could get into. So I actually studied fashion design in high school, like a full blown major at the High School of Fashion Industries. And then that's what I went to college for. That is my day job. I design for a living right now. And now I'm pivoting into making sure that music can become my livelihood. But I would say that fashion gave me a lot of that confidence.
Okay.
I think when trying out for high schools, I wanted to go up for LaGuardia and I chickened out for singing. I chickened out. And then I got into my high school for design and really like being able to like take my designs from my mind, bringing them to full fruition was definitely helpful in me finding my confidence to do music. Fashion helped me build my confidence as a creative. And then recently, I've been able to really jump out on the limb and do what I actually wanted to do. Because for a long time, fashion was supposed to be the stepping stone. And then, life comes in and you start doing all of these different things. I need to pay bills. I wanted to move out. I wanted to. So, you get distracted, but the derailment is no longer going on. So,
That's interesting. So, I mean, fashion, that's another form of art. So, you're talking about artistic expression and building that creativity and a confidence in creativity. I was talking with someone else recently about how sometimes we get stuck in these boxes of things that we become good at. And especially when it comes to art, we don't have to be stuck. We can actually evolve and take that art into something else, another form of expression, and actually do better in a different form of art. You know what I mean?
100% agreed. I think that's pretty much so it has happened with me with fashion. Out of all of my friends, I was always the one who could not name you designers, who could not be like, oh, the latest collection of the. I was never that person. For me, it was just the creating. I just wanted to make the clothing, I just wanted to express myself. And I was pretty good at it. I've won awards, it's taken me places. But I would say that it was never really the core of what I wanted to do. Because again, I feel as though life, led me along to not being in the space of using it as a stepping stone anymore. It became my everything to take care of myself. And then just in general, I feel like as a creative, when you see things, when you can envision things and you see the full vision, like when I make a song, I see everything. I see the color schemes of the videos. I see the outfits. I understand the vibe. I understand what I'm trying to admit. Like, because usually I'm telling a story. Doesn't even have to be my own story. But I see all of those details. So I also believe strongly as a creative, it's great to dive into a bunch of different things because it helps you flush out your main love, regardless, when you're trying to share it with people.
What are some early memories of music that stick with you to this day?
Early memories of music. Ooh, my early memories of music would be one, listening to music with my mom at home when I was a kid. She was going through some things medically, but when she was home, something that my mom, well, my mom is an older Jamaican woman. So one thing she's doing is cleaning all day with her Celine Dion and, everything tunes. And we had the whole speaker system with the subwoofers. We used to have like a record player, then they upgraded, and then we had the CD player, but like the multi-disc CD player. And my mom, when I think about it, she had a very interesting taste. She would listen to, I know a lot of the Jamaicans love the Celine Dion's, but she also was really into like very like cool rock kind of vibes. Like she used to listen to Richard Marx. And I still listen to the album to this day. I could sing all the songs from top to bottom. And my partner, when he hears me, he's like, "What are you listening to?" I was like, "You don't know what this is? It's fine. You should, but you don't. I do." So, like, we would just listen to a lot of different things. And my parents are also very into oldies. So they're not like very into dancehall. My mom, she's kind of one of those stush Jamaican ladies, so it's like, oh, dancehall, no, that's for the reggae game. I'm gonna do them something there, like stuff like that. So my dad is more, I say, lenient with those things, but my mom, she has a very interesting taste in music. So I grew up on like Diana Ross, Gladys Knight, and the Delves, the Stylistics, the Shy Lights. That's what I really grew up listening to, and then the Jamaican oldies. So
So no vibes cartel for you?
no, not really.
That's one of my top five right there of any genre.
Free the world, boss. No, no. What's funny is I was talking with a friend about this the other day. Like, I love dance hall for the culture. I love, I love my people. Period. But can I listen to dance hall all the time? No. I get a little tired of the tropes and the topics. Be like, what
Hmm.
happened? What happened to the Bobs? What happened to when they was talking to me about something? You know? So like
Yeah,
dancehall is fun, but
yeah,
like I want to hear something a little bit. I like when they do dancehall and like they twist it up. They give you a little something like a storyline or something. You're like, what
hmm,
he just said? Like I like this guy named Projects. Oh, his pen is murderous. The way he says things is like, I understood that, but I've never heard it that way before, and that's what I like to hear in music. I can't do soca either. I hope I don't get
yeah.
in trouble for that.
Somebody gonna get you now. You gonna be good. You gonna be good. But nah, I was big time with dancehall. Dancehall, like for me, I grew up around a lot of Jamaicans, so I used to go to basement parties and but.
It's not the same. The same. Like when I was growing up, I was like, yo, I can't wait to be in the party. I'm being like everybody's ready. And then you get there now and it's just like, that's what y'all doing now? DJs don't
Yeah,
even know how to start the party anymore. First of all, you start a Jamaican party with the oldies. So everybody just in there with their drink and they rocking. And then all of a sudden, doo, 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 and that we, so yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
tell you,
totally different now.
those were good times. Those were good times. Your main genre is R&B, correct?
Yes,
Or is it?
I would say so.
Okay.
Like alternative, R&B, kind of experimental or contemporary, I guess.
You grew up with, Jamaican influence, so you could have went and be like, you know what, I'm gonna try a reggae type of sound maybe. Or you like rock, you heard your mom listening to rock and all these type of things. But what make you say, you know what, I'm gonna find my lane in R&B?
Because I connect with it the most. And also I tried the little Afro reggae-ish type of sound. Initially, when I first started, I was under a different name as well too, and it didn't feel like I was at home. It didn't feel like I was at home. I felt really at home with R&B because I feel like those are the stories that I know how to tell, and I feel like R&B is rhythm and blues that was born here, you know, and in America, and that's my experience, growing up. Like I could speak a little patois, but that's not like my tongue, because I came up out here, so I have a lot of respect for my roots and like where I come from and the essence of like my family and my background. I was definitely raised by two Jamaican parents straight off the boat. But I did come up out here and I have a lot of experiences that I think resonate with R&B in general.
Early on, what did you imagine success would look like for you, and how has that understanding changed maybe over time?
Mm. When I was younger, success looked like being the complete and total opposite of where I came from. Um, I would say that at a certain point of time, just due to like my own experiences, like in school, experiences like where I grew up, and things like that, I felt like I almost wanted the exact opposite of what my experience was. You know, I wanted out of the hood. I wanted, to be away from this. I needed a little, I needed some white friends, but, stuff like that. And I also think that success also meant that I was gonna be like super famous by the age of 18. I was gonna be, on everybody's wall on my posters and what, stuff like that. And I think that over the years, the idea of success started to change after I actually had an experience when I was younger. I was pretty young, but it was my first time experiencing that you need to be where you should be rather than what you think the biggest and grandest thing in the room is. And it was something as simple as me being a part of a play at school. And it was the Wiz that we were doing. And I wanted to be Dorothy so bad because she's the main character. How could you not cast me to be Dorothy? It actually was given to my best friend at the time. My friend had the role of Dorothy. I had the role of the Wicked Witch. And I remember talking to my teacher. I was so upset. I was heartbroken. And she's like, honey, I gave you the role that you're going to be good at. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. That's not fair. You know? And the play came along. And I remember we did our parts. And I had a solo. I had to walk around. And I'm young. So, like, but I was nervous, but I locked in. And at the end of the play, I got a standing ovation. And that was the first time, like, even as a kid, it registered for me. It was like, oh, I get it. I think I get it. And so, after that experience and kind of just like, I was very intentional about making my way into going to high school in the city. Because here in New York, we have to choose our high schools. We don't have to go to our zone school. So, for example, I live in the Bronx. I could go to high school in Brooklyn if I find a school that I like out there. So, I was very intentional about wanting to be in the city. I wanted to be in the melting pot. I wanted to meet different people. And I just think that in general, it that experience of meeting different people, seeing how everybody's unique in their own way, despite what like it helped me to embrace where I came from and not feel so like embittered to some of the experience I had had, like the experiences I had had in my neighborhood or like with family or things like that. And so I think success kind of turned into just creating the life that I wanted to live and being present for that. I can't say that I don't live the life that 13-year-old Stacy dreamed about. I 100% do. I used to argue with my mom about how I wanted to be a young designer living in New York City on her own, but I did that. I did that 100%. And now I'm getting back to my roots and remembering how much I wanted music to be my whole and soul like focus. And I've used fashion to funnel my funds into being able to do that now. And it's been a going pretty well thus far, so
It sounds like success for you is being present in the journey that you're experiencing right now.
yes, being present, but and not being married to the idea of what I want versus letting things fall into place because the things that I've wanted have changed as well too. Before I was like, I want to be the biggest star on the stage doing really and truly my greatest dream right now is to have my niche, where I release my music. But I really want to be a songwriter. I want to collab with people. I want to get into creative direction, like, and I didn't know that before. And maybe my patience helped me to understand that about myself, you know? So that's kind of how I feel about it.
Your music speaks candidly about relationships from a woman's point of view. What's been your experience that has really directed you in a lot of your music?
I love to tell a story. I love to tell a story. I love to, sometimes what I'm writing is kind of like what I wish I would have done in a situation. I would say recently I've made a lot of changes into how I carry myself, relationship wise, how I put myself, well, I'm not saying no more and expecting, so besides the point. But all of those things have aligned due to a lot of the changes that I've made in reference to how I was dealing with men. And first and foremost, how I was dealing with myself, how I was taking care of myself. But I like to tell stories. So, like, for example, my song Without You,
Mm-hmm.
a rough year, had a really rough year in the dating department. And I also like to be pretty funny and witty, especially about my pain. And so I just kind of wrote a song. It happened very organically. I was just here listening to beats at home. And that one clicked. I was like, this is funky. And the first part that I thought of was, and yet there should be for all the
Yeah,
time.
go ahead. I was about to ask you about it. Go ahead and say the lyrics. Go, and I want to ask you about it real quick.
And your dick should be bigger for all the trouble you cause. Sweet like cotton candy, melt easy, yeah, nigga, you soft. Nigga, please,
There
you
we
soft.
go. Hey, that's a good line, but check this out. This is my question. Why do women go crazy about guys that's like that though? They don't got nothing really going on for them, but they still going crazy for these guys.
So that's the thing, right? I think personally, I feel like you get your hopes up as a woman. I think, and a lot of the times, and I'm speaking very generally and very loosely because we are not all the same, disclaimer. But I feel as though the dream of love, when you don't have a certain esteem, when you haven't experienced certain things, when you don't understand, when you don't have a certain level of discernment, there are certain things that are presented to you that look like potential or a possibility for the things that you want. And I think something that I've personally tried to adjust for myself is not going where I imagine something can be. Is it there? Is it real? Is that what's actually happening? Or is that what I hope would be happening? And if I'm like, chances are it's probably not happening. So I think that's why the girls, that's why, we be hopeful. I be singing the right tunes, singing the right sound, saying everything. And then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, this ain't that. When I wrote that line, I was just thinking about the year that I had. And I was just like, there's so much I didn't say because, again, I'm a lover, not a fighter. So I don't really be dragging people through the mud like I really should. However, there have been some times where I definitely should have. So I said, why not put in a song?
Mhm.
That was literally the first line of the song. I promise you.
That line will hit them right there in the heart. Whoever that was.
You should see the comments I get from people, from dudes that the song is not about. Oh, they're upset. How dare you?
Hey,
Oh my God. I've gotten some times where I'm like, it's that serious. I'm not talking to you. You
Listen,
know?
I hit dog will holler, right? That's it.
Okay.
That's
All
it.
right.
If you in them comments commenting about that song and angry with that line, something might be
You
going on.
telling on yourself. Yes, you're telling on yourself. No, oh my God. That song, Without You, like that for me created Selah The Betta. That was like when I did that song, I was like, nah, that's the vibe I'm trying to give. That's me. That's how I am. I'm one of the funny girls, you know? I hear that sometimes the ladies ain't that funny when, they like on the scene. I've heard that a lot actually, where guys are like, girls are not funny. You guys just get to be pretty. You guys just get to be there. We have to have all the charm. From what I've heard, I'm kind of funny sometimes. So I wanted that to be in my music. I want you to hear the puns, the wittiness that I have, and make you a little upset. Why not?
It's great that you can kind of, you can take those times where, okay, I didn't really get to say it at that time, but I can say it in my music now. It's almost like you get justice for where you didn't get to really put it out there. You didn't really express yourself when the time was there. Like I have those times where I'm like, you ever have those times where you're like, man, 10 years ago, I sat there and this and that happened and I didn't do nothing about it. Oh no.
Guess what? It's on Apple Music.
We gotta make this talk about it. That's it.
Yes, 100%. 100%. And I'm gonna be honest with you, after that year, I was like, no, like, I need some get back. Like, I need something, and it's not even anything that's direct enough, for it to be like, oh, I know. It's just, and I know that women can relate to that. Like, all of that, and you wasn't even that great. Like, for real? For real? Like, I could be crazy over something better. No? Okay, got you. That's fine.
Yeah.
You hold that. All right, you got that. you know?
If you're tuning in with us, make sure to like and subscribe and comment. Let us know what you think about the song. Go ahead and check out the song too. What part of the music business has been the hardest to navigate?
Connecting with people. Connecting with people. Um, on the New York scene, I would say in general, one, I have been working up my nerve to, interact more, but life has been life, and your girl is 6 months preggo. I've also been at home because I fell off a stool. Sister girl said, "You too much," and said, "Foop," and I fell backwards and I twisted my knee. So that's another thing. And like momentum has been picking up for me currently, regardless, despite all of that. But I feel like connecting with people is the most difficult because if you haven't been developing a circle with music, it's harder to even start to interact with those people. And just as far as being in New York, people want to deal with you when you have a certain buzz. And before the buzz, New York is not messing with you. Honestly, that's how I feel about it. Like, if friends may rock with you, they may be like, yeah, oh, my bro, my sis, my da 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 da. But as far as New York on a whole, you better hit some numbers, and then they go, all right, come home, bro. We respect it. We see you. We see you. So because I even with my songs now, like when I check my stats, a lot of it is from everywhere else. So like I have a lot of listeners in New Orleans. Shout out to Nola, Cali, North Carolina, South Carolina, Nashville, even places I've never even heard of. And I'm like, wow, like y'all are in Shazam's. I'm like, where are y'all playing this out loud for people to be Shazamming this? But it's not New York.
It's a quote. They say you'll get supporters from people that you don't know before you'll get supporters from the people around you.
It's true. though. It's true. But I try not to be offended by that because they know you. They know you and they just like, ah, look at doing a little thing. That's cool. However, do I think it's right? No, because you should be investing in your friends. You should invest in your friends' dreams. And you should be around people who I think you feel are really about what they say they're about and who are willing to put in the work, and who you see talented. I believe that all my friends are very talented and we actively try to pour into one another all the time in reference to that. But as far as like the music community, I wouldn't say it's all that inviting, is what I would say. It's not very like, come, let's collab. There isn't that heavy excitement for that. Even people who have been reaching out to me to collab, they're not from New York.
Have you tried collabing? Well, I mean, people have reached out to you. So have you collabed with people outside of New York?
Not, we're in talks, but we haven't fully gone through with it yet. That's the other thing, is making sure that these things actually come to fruition and don't stay in the inbox.
Yeah.
So, but been working on some things. There's an artist in Cali who I've been talking to that I would like to collab with. And his work is pretty funny too. It's actually very like witty, like mine, which I really like as well too. And other than that, I'm also very interested in like meeting different engineers and producers. Right now, me and my engineer, we work very well together, but I do want to start to like move around a bit with my sound and kind of like see what else I could add to it or what works for me as well too, because I'm still developing, like it's just the beginning. So, but yeah, as far as collabs, I don't have any that are set in stone right now, is what I would say. They're not easy to come by because, like, the New York is in me. There's some crazy people hitting me up, and
Nah, I ain't gonna mess with that.
you don't necessarily have to have the buzz, but there's a look, you know? I feel
Mhm.
like even without you, like the music video and everything, I didn't want it to look homemade, especially for my first project. And being in other creative spaces, something that I know is how to develop imagery. That's a very big part of my day to day job. So, and in fashion, you're selling dreams. How do you sell a dream? It must look realistic for people to invest in it. So, even with the music video and things, I wanted to make sure that it looked a certain way. Like, I wanted to look serious, even though I'm just starting out. As far as visuals and things like that go, I know how to do that. So that I wanted to look as professional as possible. So that is something that I'm looking for in like people that I collab with. But at the same time, that can stop you from working with somebody who just has yet to figure it out.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Sometimes you
working.
might. I mean, I feel like you. It's good to have a sense of, does this person have that spark in them too? Maybe they're not there where they have things set up, and I might be. I don't know, but the music industry is different. But but like, but I think if I'm trying to do something, if I see somebody they have a spark in them, they might not be there yet, but because I can see that they have the passion and the drive that I feel like they will get there,
Hmm.
I'll spend that time with that person. You get what I'm saying? Like I'll collab with that person.
Yes, I think it's hard to, at least out here in general. I think it, let me backtrack. Over in general, there are a lot of people who are like pushing their music on social media and things like that. And something that I think is important too with the people that you surround yourself with and that you collab with are if they're about getting to where they want to go in the way that you're willing to do so as well, if that makes sense. So I think alignment on how you do business, how you invest in yourself, how you work on things, timing, like how important this is to you. What do you have going on in your life? I think that those things are very important as well. And I think that also shows up in the quality of what you're doing. Like, I feel like I could tell somebody who, like you're saying, somebody who has that spark, who's learning, who every time you see them, they put out something that was better than the last. You know? That I think speaks a lot to somebody who's just starting out. And I hope to be one of those people, you know? And those are the people that I want to work with.
Hmm.
I'd love to start collabing a whole lot more because
Yeah.
that's what feels the best about it. When I release a song, I'm happy that you're able to listen to it. Let's talk about it.
Hmm.
That sounds funny. Me too. That's why I put in the song. You know, like stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I saw your song. I was like, yeah, that's pretty fun. This is a great sense of humor, and
Hmm.
I mean, the song is like, it's ready for the radio. I mean, we need to go ahead and hear this on the radio right now. This is good R&B. This is what we've been missing because for a while I feel like R&B has kind of went down. I feel like it's coming back now,
Hmm.
and very much so with a lot of women. A lot of women are really bringing R&B back to the forefront. You being one of those women.
Thank you. I think
Yeah.
it's the honesty, though. It's the honesty. Like, listen to Summer Walker. Summer Walker, it sounds like a diary entry when you listen to her stuff. But it's a diary entry that with a melody and with, so, first of all, the woman can sing. But, you know, like, how she delivers it, it's so relatable. It is so relatable. And even with Without You, that's something you saying to your girls when y'all at the crib, or even you with your friends. Period. The guys and girls and y'all kikiing. You know, he had the nerve to play me, and he don't even got it like that. You know, like, and that's something you're saying in the room with your friends, and then he come in the room and he be like, "Hi," you know, you know, stuff like that. So I think R&B is coming back now because when people are missing it.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw this interview with T. Ron Thomas, songwriter. He's from our city.
Hmm.
Well, he write everybody's songs. He done wrote every damn thing for Rihanna. He writes for everybody. He's amazing. But he was talking about how he could predict how music would sound based on the drugs people were using, mostly during that
Wow.
time period. And he said he was really able to predict things based on that. And I think that something he said about what's going on now is that there's so much diversity in how people are having fun and the paraphernalia that they're using, that
Hmm.
that's why there's such a mixture of what's going on. And I think for a lot of us, especially also with all of the fake that's going on, you know, we have AI and we have, you know, AI artists now, people getting signed off of that. You can't tell when a video is real or fake. People are leaning more towards what was real and wholesome. So all of that is kind of simmering down, you know? So I think in reference to what he had mentioned, that seems to be leveling out as far as, you know, people are becoming more health conscious. People are taking care of their mental health. A lot of celebrities right now, oh, I'm sober, sober for a year, sober for this, you know, stuff like that. And then also just the yearning for something real. Like, and R&B is as real as it gets. Bring back
It
the
is.
dudes that was on the floor singing in the rain. Bring them back. Bring
We
them
need those. We need those guys back. We need Usher. See, Usher, he's still doing it, but we need him to bring some other guys up now. Chris Brown is
back.
still doing it, but we need some new guys out there to
Yeah,
do it.
a new take on it. Like, let's get the little updates, you know, because I mean, listen, Usher and Chris, they still doing the damn thing. The fact
Yeah.
Usher's career,
Yes.
Usher
Yeah.
is he still looked like he did off his first album, practically. He been singing since he was what, 13? About grown
Yeah.
things he ain't had no business singing about. You know?
But you know what I'm gonna tell you though too. With Usher, I was a big time Usher fan as a kid growing up. And when he came out for the Super Bowl, everybody went crazy about Kendrick Lamar, and big respect to Kendrick Lamar. I like Kendrick Lamar, but I was way more excited to see Usher at the Super Bowl. That had to be one of the top Super Bowls.
And then he started his residence. Come on, man.
Yeah, that
And
was
then
way better.
it's the full package too, because Usher's not just he's singing, he's dancing, he's moving, and his catalog.
Yes.
You 13 today, and you still listening to Confessions.
Yep. Usher can sing and dance and do all that performing and still be singing good the whole time. And he's actually singing his lyrics on the stage. We need some new guys coming out and singing in the rain. To Usher need to teach these guys, and Chris Brown get with these guys and bring them out so we can have another generation of R&B. But I mean, like I said, we got a lot of women I feel like are doing it. And there's a few guys that are doing it now. And we named Usher and Chris Brown, but it's not what it was yet. It's not back to what it was yet.
No, I'm a fan of Lucky Day. I am a fan of Giveon. I think they're really great. God, I miss Frank Ocean. Sometimes Frank Ocean writes stuff and you don't know what the hell he's talking about, but you just like, this sounds beautiful. Ugh,
Yeah.
like Thames. Thames does that to me too. Sometimes I'm like, what is
Mhm.
Thames talking about? But I know there's a cultural barrier because sometimes she's talking about things from back home, like that makes sense when you know, like the culture where she comes from back in Africa. She kind of reminds me of like Frank. Sometimes, like, she'll be writing something and you'll be like, what does she mean by that? But it's just so beautiful, you don't care.
What do you think about this now? I'm about to ask you a controversial question. Some people would like to skate around this. All right. What do you think about R. Kelly being, some people say he's the greatest, the king of R&B. What do you think about that? Is he in the top five? Can you separate the art from the person?
Will he make it through the pearly gates?
No, I'm not talking about the pearly gates now. I'm not talking about the person. I'm not talking about separating Robert from R. Kelly.
Can I separate that?
Yeah.
No, I can't. I can't. I I know why it's hard to, or I know why it's hard not to. At the end of the day, he's an artist. His music has brought people so much joy. I know that. I remember being a kid. I believe I could fly. I got shot by the FBI. Like so.
Oh
we
my
all know,
goodness.
we all know the steps. So I can't take that. I can't say he wasn't an amazing artist. However, can I separate? Like, am I gonna go cut on R. Kelly right now? No, no, I'm not. Out of solidarity, I guess you could say, and just out of like I know celebrities are human beings, right?
Mhm.
They are human beings. However, I wouldn't be giving my next door neighbor a blind for the stuff that he did. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't. So as far as an artist, I have no opinion on whether he's the king of R&B or not. I can't separate that. It's not as a woman, not as a human being, not at like I'm not expecting perfection from anyone.
Yeah.
But damn,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, no, I hear you. I hear you.
Like
Everybody has different opinions about it. I hear you. I've heard some people say that they'll separate Robert from R. Kelly.
I
What is
understand
it?
why.
Yeah.
I do because imagine you're coming up during a time where R. Kelly was the guy. Like he's responsible for well, he's a big part of a lot of your most fun memories of you being young out in the club. That why wouldn't you want to separate that? That's not where I grew up. So I'm fine with separating it. I'm not gonna fight that hard to separate from R. Kelly. But I do understand why people want to. I get that. And
Yeah.
you can't take away from his talents. His talent is his talent. That man was rocking the charts for years. But
I get it. I get it. A lot of people would side with you on that. I feel like a lot of times, though, specifically with black celebrities, they they put the black celebrities who do stuff like that on Front Street, like if they're in the media constantly. They're even bringing out Bill Cosby now, and his case is already over with, but they're talking about him in the news headlines with this Quaaludes that he admitted to bringing Quaaludes, having them for young women. He's not going to go to jail for this. They're just bringing it out in the news headlines. It seems like when it comes to black celebrities who do things like that, it's in the news headline. They put the white person in the news headline too, but black people jump on the thing with the black celebrity. When a black celebrity does something, a lot of times we like to blame it on white people, but the truth is that black people jump on that case so hard, and there's so many videos like memes and talking points and podcasts and all these people talking about it when a black celebrity does something, mainly from the black community talking about this person, that it makes the situation worse. It's almost like the black person's committed a super crime versus the white person just committed a crime. Like, for example, Jared Leto. Jared Leto just came out in a movie. He came out in the movie Tron, which was like #1 in the box office just recently, and then now it's back. Now it's on streaming and everything, but it was #1 in the box office. He's about to be in. He's about to be in the movie He-Man. He's the new He-Man movie that's about to come out. He's gonna be the Skeletor in that movie. That movie's probably gonna do big numbers. But Jared Leto just last year was accused of having inappropriate conversation with young girls, like texting them. They have messages with little girls that he was trying to message, get them to go to parties with him. And allegedly he had been doing some inappropriate behavior and things with these little girls, but it didn't even make it that big. Like nobody blew it up because it came out in the headlines. Nobody jumps on it, and it doesn't become a big talking point. So it's not a super crime when they do it, but when we do it, it's a super crime, not because of really white people a lot of times, but I feel like our community really jumps on it. Like they just let justice, if they don't get locked up for something, or if they get locked up for something, white people kind of be quiet about it. They be like, okay, whatever. They still gonna watch the show, or they still gonna listen to the music, but they're not gonna talk about that person no more. Black people, we get on it. Like, do you see what I'm saying?
I think there's a reason for that though. And
What's that?
I think first of all, black people in America, we are the culture. We're the sauce. We are the opinionated ones. We're the ones who are on social media giving our opinions first. So, and we create a culture of that. Like social media is black culture here in America, in my opinion. So when we have all these commentators, when we have these jokes, these viral memes, a lot of those are from black creators at the end of the day, and we typically do have the most to say on those topics. However, one thing I will say also is that people are keeping it honest on that end, and they have an opinion and they're sharing it. A lot of the people want to hear what we have to say, is what I would say. But society wise, in general, anything a black man do is 10 times worse than anybody else. Wah! He looked at her the wrong. Ah! Like I, I as a black woman, I look at you like this. She's aggressive. Oh, what's she looking that way? White woman. Oh, she's pondering upon something. She's in thought. Like, come on. So I think society wise in general, when it comes to white people committing certain crimes, doing certain things, it's easily dismissed. But I will say that I feel like because white people aren't also jumping in and condemning them, then it doesn't seem as much. But I feel like as black people, we get on social media and we talk about these white people too. We be talking about that. I
I don't
think
know.
we do.
Did you know about Jared Leto before I just mentioned it?
I don't know who that is. So that's out of my realm regardless. So I'm just saying. But I will say that there's always going to be a different, or there always has been a difference in how black people are treated and represented in the media, period.
Do you think that we are more critical of ourselves than white people are of themselves? Like we as a people are more critical about black people than white people are about white people.
Yes. But I think that as black people, we've been taught to police ourselves more for safety. Like even for example, the rule when you go to somebody else's house, make sure you leave it cleaner than, or you ain't messing up their stuff, and make sure you leave your area cleaner than it was before. That comes from slave times. That comes from making sure that you don't mess up, Mass's house. Because back then the repercussions were death. Okay? And then it was you getting your ass beat. You're going there's harm that's going to be brought to you. So while some of our behaviors and the things that we call important in our culture is, just minimized to like, oh, we just clean. Oh, we just thought no, it's actually deeply rooted in oppression. It's deeply rooted in fear. It's deeply rooted in the things that our people used to experience before. And that's where I think stuff like that comes from. So us being heavily critical of ourselves, I would imagine so, because when I walk into a room, I need to ensure that every hair is in place. I need to ensure that I speak a certain way. I need to ensure that, I'm not giving off too much body language, because if I move my shoulder up here, it's going to be like I move my shoulder to the ceiling versus when Karen moves her shoulder up here, or up all the way up here, it's like, oh, she just has a little opinion. She's fine. Me? Oh, she's blown a gasket. Calm down. Like, so I do think that in general, we do probably police ourselves more. But I also think as a culture that, tries to promote keeping it real, we're also like, hey, Bill, you making all this wholesome content. You the reason why black kids is going to college, why they seeing like this is possible, and this is what you out here doing. We have to show up. We have to show up differently. And this is where we don't have that wiggle room, because, like what you're talking about, people is going to get on your ass.
How do you protect your sense of self in such an opinion heavy space in music?
A lot of personal work was done to do that. Um, I Another big reason why I feel like I didn't pursue music fully before was due to insecurity and fear. Also, being a plus size woman, being a black woman, struggling with low self esteem, not feeling like you're pretty enough, not feeling like your voice sounds good enough, not feeling like you're going to be able to contend or people are going to be interested. Um, I think that I had to do a lot of self work. I think that life has aligned for me in that way, where in which these past couple years have been that's been heavily necessary for me to improve my life and improve my existence, period. And I think when you take care of yourself, you take care of your mental, you build up that love for yourself, however that works for you, and you understand the best parts of yourself and you also understand the worst parts of yourself, and you come to a space where you love all of those things, it makes it easier to step out into the world and take risks. I think fashion was safe for me was because I could hide my face. I had to get to a place where I appreciated my face, where I appreciated me, my being, and enough so that if I get a nasty comment, I don't believe what the person said. Enough for me to be like, okay, and I still had the balls to post it, and you're on a burner account. Me a few years ago, I remember I posted some video. I was doing like little hair videos and stuff like that, and I did like a little dance in one of them. And I got two comments where people were like, I thought you were gonna show me this. Like, I don't know what's the point of this. I deleted the video. I got people talking about we need to shame these whales and these fat heifers. My videos are still up. I feel like I'm in a different space confidence wise, but that was all personal work. And now it's trickling into my music and the other things that I do. So,
It's almost like maybe all along you already wanted to express yourself creatively as a musician, as a singer, but you're like, okay, I got to find a different avenue because I need to find something safe where I can kind of hide myself.
yes, 100%. I was talking to my therapist about it. She's like, I can't believe I've known you for like 2 years now, and this is really just coming up so solid for us. I'm like, yes, it is. Because I think a part of me, one, it's fashion was definitely safer. Like I said, when I was applying for LaGuardia, I chickened out. I got nervous and I just didn't do it. When my high school, I got to do a test, so that was very different. And when I present my clothes, you don't have to see me. And you don't have to like me. You don't have to like my look. You have to like what I presented to you. But music is something where people want to know who's behind it. People want to know who's creating it. They want to understand their story. And I think I had to become comfortable with myself and my story, how I look, my features, what makes me different. I had to become comfortable with my lisp. I had to become comfortable with my chunkiness. I had to become comfortable in order to, one, be confident enough to share that with people and for people to resonate with it. People see that,
You know, I think our personal story, the more comfortable we are and confident in our story is like really the most powerful thing that we have because no one else has your story. Even your own sibling doesn't experience life through your eyes. They're there with you, but they're not going through every step of the way. So we all have our own story, and you have people that could do so many great things, but because they don't embrace their story, there's maybe insecurity there, or they're ashamed of their story. They'll never really reach that height because they're just hiding behind something, it seems like.
that is true. I think I think the best way for you to improve anything in your life is to improve your respect for yourself, your love for yourself, and your story. I know a whole bunch of Instagram, the therapists on here without the certifications be like, they're always, saying this, that, and the third. But I think that one, through working with my therapist and things like that, it's how to actually do that that really matters. You have to work through the deepest parts of yourself to figure out why it is that you feel that way towards yourself. Like sometimes I think, well, for me at least, self love was like a default. Oh, I love myself. What do you mean I don't love myself? Of course I love myself. Yeah, but if you read back a journal from 3 years ago, a journal entry, you're mean as hell. You called yourself fat. You're like, I guess you just have to accept this. Like, whatever. Your inner voice is mean. You can't tell me that you really like yourself if you talk to yourself like that. The people that I like externally, I talk to them very nicely. Why would I speak to myself the same way? So, when you accept yourself, your story, where you come from, who you are, why you are the way that you are, sky's the limit. It's not gonna, there's nothing, when you're aware of you, there's nothing about you that's gonna stop you. Because anybody says anything about you to you, you already know you.
If you
So,
were to give someone right now who is hesitant on taking that step toward whatever it is that they're trying to do creatively, whether they might be trying to be a singer, what's some advice that you would give them right now?
I would say to just do it. Just do it and do it to the best of your ability. I would say always remain open to learning, but pick reliable sources. And when I say reliable sources, I mean people who may want the same things, have gotten the same things, but are more so willing to get it in a way in which you would like to. If that's more wholesome, if that's through being honest, if that's through, speak to people and take advice from those who go about life in the way in which that you want to go about life. Alignment is very important, but as far as hopping into anything creatively, just do it and always be willing to learn and keep your mind open. Sometimes the best things like that come, like sometimes your best creations become even better because of a mistake. Even in my song Without You, the melody, a part of that was me playing around and I was just recording and I was like, hello. And I was like, you heard that? That actually sounds kind of cool. And I ended up putting it in the song and it filled empty space. And it adds to the of the song, like, but I love you. And I wasn't thinking about that beforehand, So, like, through creating music, through creating, like, fashion pieces, through drawing, graphics, just be open, take risks, just do it, and have fun while you're doing it.
Could you shout out your social media where people can follow you, find you?
Okay, so you can catch me on Instagram. I'm on Threads as well, and TikTok, but TikTok is kind of sensitive right now. But you can catch me at Selah The Betta. That's Selah the Beta Betta. And you can find me anywhere with that. And you can check out my music on Apple Music. You can check me out on Spotify. I'm on YouTube, Prompt, everywhere. Check me out. Check out Without You and Across the Skies.
Thank you for coming on here with me.
Of course, I'm happy to be here. This was fun.
Make sure to like and subscribe.